this is one that kind of on Twitter was kind of took off. Conan Byrne tweeted about Caoimhín Kelleher after, of course, he won the Carabao Cup with Liverpool on penalties, obviously scoring a penalty himself, and then kept at Arrizabalaga blazing one over the bar. Socko, you're a very happy man, of course. But he did raise an interesting question. He said, who would you rather be? Gavin Bazunu, so you play for Man City, you're on loan in League One, of Portsmouth, playing week in, week out, and you're Ireland's number one, or would you rather be Caoimhín Kelleher, play for Liverpool as their number two, experience days like today, and be Ireland's second choice goalkeeper as well? I don't know who wants to kick us off here. We'll hear one at a time. I'll jump in as well at some stage, but I don't know who. Maybe Socko's the keeper. Socko, you can kick us off. Who would you rather be? What position would you rather be in?
See, what position would I rather be in? They're both on different paths in their careers. Like, players don't all follow the same path. Some go on loan, some go to a really top club at a really early age. So there's no one set path. There's no right. Like, one isn't better than each other because they're so subjective. From an Ireland fan point of view, which I am, I'd be inclined to go with Bazunu. Apart from the pass back mistake versus Portugal, I can't remember him putting a foot wrong in the other 8-9 games he's played. Not only not putting a foot wrong, but putting in 3 or 4 man of the match performances. The games against Serbia and Portugal at home come to mind. He was absolutely excellent. Of course, he's a few years younger than Kelleher as well. He has 8 or 9 games now with playing with Ireland's back line, so they have that understanding, that chemistry, that trust between them. Whereas Kelleher, on the other hand, it's 45 minutes versus Hungary, if I'm not wrong, and the Qatar game, which he didn't put a foot wrong in either as well. So just from an Ireland fan point of view, I'd be inclined to stick with Bazunu until there's reason to change it. Just because he's won a League Cup, he scored a penalty League Cup final, doesn't mean he should start. There's 2 friendlies now at the end of March. Stephen Kenny might play one and one and one and the other.
Yeah.
But it's so subjective, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
But the question is, who would you rather be yourself if you were like to be one of them? Like, would you rather be Caoimhín winning the League Cup like yourself, or would you rather be kind of starting for Ireland? It's kind of like whose position would you, if you had to be one of them, kind of thing?
Probably the one on the higher contract.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
God. Well, like, you can imagine Bazunu next year or two will go back to City. Hope maybe a little bit early for that, but hopefully challenge for the number 1 spot. I don't think it's fair to say who would you rather be, because they're both at different stages of their career, both different ages as well. You'd imagine Kelleher be knocking on the door in the next year or two, maybe for the number 1 position. I suppose the easy answer is I don't know, to be honest, because like there's no right or wrong answer.
It's tough. It's tough to know. Like.
Yeah, I'll let Liam come in on this now.
Liam, what do you think?
It is a very good debate. You could be here for hours, but for me, Bazunu is still only 20. Like, you know, you forget that. You really forget that he's only 20. Well, like Kelleher's 23. In terms, for me personally, I'd rather be Bazunu. Kelleher's 3 years on in the development stage. You know what I mean? That, for me, if Ireland were to qualify for the World Cup rather than my team qualify for Champions League, that's, for me, obviously being a season ticket holder, going to all the Irish games. For me, I'd rather be Bazunu starting number 1, because for me, Irish and call up for your national side is the biggest achievement, really, in football, from my point of view, anyway. And so I'd be Bazunu. Now, obviously, Kelleher. I think Kelleher could potentially look at becoming the number 1 if he was to get more game time. If he was to go out on loan, maybe to a lower, like a Norwich or team down the bottom of the league and getting consistent games like Bazunu is, then Kelleher could potentially look even getting that position. But as Socko said, I don't really see the need for us to change it unless something drastic happens or Bazunu gets really bad form, but he's not in bad form. He's playing well week in, week out, which is completely different to Kelleher's situation. He's only played the Carabao Cup, really, cup games. But it could potentially all change given the amount of games that Liverpool have coming into the end of the season, and then into next year there'd be a big call on what he wants to do himself personally. And Bazunu, still only 20, he can look at, as Socko said, I'm sure he's tipped to be the next keeper for Ederson, really. They play very similar football. I'm sure he'll be brought back into the Man City camp in a year or two.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think yeah, it's a tricky one. There's probably not a right answer, so to speak. But like, obviously, the case with Kelleher is like you're getting to experience playing as a cup keeper. You're getting to lift league cup trophies. You're getting to potentially get a Champions League medal. You're getting medals probably as a second choice keeper, but at times first choice in maybe the FA. I think it's first choice in the FA Cup as well, so potentially that as well. So the case is kind of, I saw someone comment underneath Conor Burns things like, you look back at the end of the season at the games you play, all the games you play, or all your medals, and that's an interesting point as well. But I think he's touched on it, Liam. I think the highest honor you can have is to play for your country, and I think getting caps, like if you look back at your career, and Kelleher has all the ability in the world to get caps, and I think if he went out on a loan, maybe we had to show it more week in, week out, and I think that is a huge plus for Gavin Bazunu that he is doing that. And I think I think I'd rather be Gavin Bazunu in my opinion, because I think, as you said, 20 years of age, it is tricky, because I think the question maybe is based towards maybe would you rather play week in, week out for your team and not maybe win medals, or sit on the bench for a lot of the season and win medals, kind of thing. So it is a tricky one in that regard. But I think, yeah, Bazunu's position I think is stronger moving forward. And I think he probably is the better goalkeeper by a little bit as well. And even at his age, I think his ceiling is just, I think he could be one. Maybe it's a bit early says, but I think he's potentially be one of the best goalkeepers in the world. You saw him in that list of that team, is like a team of all the best youngsters in the world. He was the goalkeeper on that team, 20 years of age, best goalkeeper in League One by a long mile. He'll either be second choice of City next season, in the Championship at the bare minimum. I think possibly a Premier League team could take a chance on him, but you want guaranteed football, so maybe a team going for promotion in the Championship. So yeah, I think for me, I'd rather be Gavin Bazunu, but I can see why people would say Kelleher possibly as well, because days like that, scoring penalties in cup finals and lifting the trophy and being the man in the moment, it doesn't come around that often, I suppose. So yeah, there is definitely a case for both, but I think Bazunu, is the man. I think that's the position I'd rather be in. Being the number one for your country, that I think that nothing tops that for me, I don't think.